So I took the photos, I put it on Craigslist, sold this on Craigslist for $500 down. So I got all my money back out of the deal. And I'm talking like a week later. And that guy gave me $500 and we did what's called a land contract or contract for deed. He's paying me $400 a month. I sold that one for $5,000 as well. And that's the one that like was my paradigm shift. I told my wife, Emily, I was like, listen, if we could do this 10 more times, we are financially free.
Welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast, the show where we teach you how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want.
Doctor!
Now, here's your host, Dr. 𝗣𝗍𝗍𝗍.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dr. 𝗣𝗍𝗍𝗍, and today I'm joined by Brent Bowers. He is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, Army veteran, and land investing coach with the Land Sharks. After spending years in the Army and being away from his family, he got serious about building income through real estate, eventually focusing on vacant land as a simpler, scalable niche without the headaches of traditional rentals. Brent, good to see you, man. How are things going?
I am so good. I'm so good. Thanks for having me on here, Dr. Alex, and good to meet you again. Good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Brent and I were talking before the podcast. I first heard him when he came and spoke to a mastermind I'm in called The War Room probably 3 or 4 years ago. And we also have some Colorado Springs connections and ties here. So Brent, kind of cool to go full circles.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, cool, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Well, take us back. What was life like during your time in the Army? What made you start looking for another path or some alternative income?
Yeah, well, I was actually out in Colorado Springs where you're at now. I had just commissioned as an officer. I was enlisted before, and I was just gone so often and away from home, and I was hardly making any money as well. But I wanted another way to be able to pay my bills. I really just wanted to make like $5,000 a month so I can be home more often with my wife and my child, my newborn baby. And I'd already had some real estate experience. I already had rental properties, but those weren't making me really any income. That was like a long-term play. And I was really kind of losing money on several of them. But I found land investing and was able to jump kind of like head first into that. And it started bringing in monthly income. And boy, I mean, since I talked to you and your mastermind, things have changed quite a bit as well for my land business as well. We're still doing land, but now I'm placing brand new manufactured homes on several of these parcels. And it's brought in a whole nother floodgate of income. It's a little bit more steps to it. It's probably a little bit harder for people to do virtually, I should say. Well, maybe not virtually. It does help to have boots on ground, but it's adding another added benefit is there's so many ways to get financing for these. So we're keeping some of these and basically having brand new rentals and eliminating our federal income tax, our federal tax burden.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about that. That's definitely a change and kind of a new step for you. So I'm excited to learn more. Why did land become the niche for you instead of single family or multifamily or something else? I know you had that experience as well.
Yeah, great question. I had 7 doors at that time in 2015 when I first started looking into land. Actually, I didn't look into land. I just did land. And I had never been profitable on any of those properties. I basically was just putting money into it. I called them forced savings accounts just to make myself feel better. But that first land deal, I was profitable immediately. The second land deal, I created passive income coming in. I was getting $400 a month because I sold that land on seller financing note. I was getting $400 a month, so that was covering my truck payment, really. So I was pretty much hooked after that.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so cool when you can have passive income or alternative income streams come in and then start paying off those different monthly bills or expenses that you have. And that's when you really can see the power of passive income. And then it almost becomes like a drug. You just want more and more and more. And then it gets to be a really cool place where you're like, hey, I'm buying things that I want with that passive income that's coming in. And so it's a really, really cool way to do it instead of taking out more debt. What initially drew you to land? What did that first deal look like for you?
Yeah, well, how I found out about it was on a podcast just like this, kind of like the Physicians and Properties podcast. But I heard a guy talking about buying land at discounts and basically doubling his money like a week later. And the way he was doing it, there's no way I could have ever done it like that. He was going to like all these tax sales where people weren't paying their taxes on the land, their county taxes, and he'd buy up all the properties and then resell them. Well, I couldn't go to these. I was in the military. I was working 13 hours a day. But what I was thinking, I was like, and this is my process has changed quite a bit now. It's gotten way easier. But I was like, well, there's still people behind on their taxes. He's not buying all the land. So I started mailing the people that were behind on their taxes with the county. And I didn't realize it, but I was mailing the county held tax delinquent list. This was land that was just like not buildable, not accessible, landlocked, very inefficient land. And my phone started ringing off the hook. Like these people did not want this stuff. And like they would just pretty much name their price. Just give me $500. Just so that first one you asked about, that guy was like, give me $285. It's yours. He's like, I'm a retired CPA. I traded it for tax work. It's not buildable. It's 2 lots, Palmer Lake, Colorado, actually, overlooking the Pike National Forest on Lake Avenue. I was like, what? I didn't know what I was doing. So I went and looked at this land, called the real estate office. I was as close to the land as I can get. And I was like, hey, what would you sell this land for me? And she's like, maybe $10,000. And I was like, what? I'm making $4,000 a month in the military, working my butt off like 6 days a week. We're training for my 3rd combat deployment to Afghanistan again. And I'm like going to be away from home for another 1.5 years. So I wasn't too excited about that. But I was like, holy crap, $10,000 for $285? And then that realtor actually, she's like, well, what if I just bought it from you? And I was like, oh my gosh, even better. So she offered me $5,000. So that's like a net profit of $4,700, like in like an hour of work. So I was like,
that's amazing.
Done. I didn't even make that much in a month. Like I literally felt like I hit the lottery. But the second deal was even better. I bought that one for $500 next to NORAD, actually. Since you're in Colorado Springs, I can tell, like Cheyenne Canyon State Park, right there by Fort Knox.
It's beautiful.
Not Fort Knox, Fort Carson. Right there, I had to go across their land to get to this property. So I took the photos, trespassed. Well, I guess I don't know, a state park, right? Was I really trespassing? But I put it on Craigslist, sold this on Craigslist for $500 down. So I got all my money back out of the deal. And I'm talking like a week later. Maybe it was a week. Maybe it was a weekend, actually. Less than 7 days. I'm going back all the way to like 2016 now. And that guy gave me $500 and we did what's called a land contract or contract for deed. He's paying me $400 a month. I sold that one for $5,000 as well. And that's the one that like was my paradigm shift. I told my wife, Emily, I was like, listen, if we could do this 10 more times, we are financially free. We can live anywhere. We can do this anywhere that we have an internet connection. I can get out of the military. I'll be the husband of your dreams finally. I'll be at home more often. I get to put the baby to bed at night, get to be there when he wakes up. Like, cause I never saw him awake when I was in the military. So yeah, I did it like a bunch more times. I got to like $12,000 in income within a couple of years and then left the military.
That is awesome. Yeah, what a cool story. And Palmer Lake and Cheyenne Canyon State Park, both are beautiful places too. And that is awesome. And the interesting thing, I think, folks, I want you to realize is this was vacant lands that you couldn't even build on, and you were still able to do this. And we'll talk more about different types of land deals.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the really, really cool part because they're not making any more land. So that is awesome, Brent. But let's fast forward. I know we got a lot of ground to cover. What do you typically like to look for in land deals? Or I guess another way to ask this would be like, if I was listening to this and I wanted to get started, how would you tell me to get started? What am I looking for?
Yeah. So now I look for land that's selling. I've changed it completely. Like Colorado, I mailed like the whole county and I just kept doing it as many as I could, but there was no rhyme or reason. But now I go into areas, I want to see where land's actually selling, where it's trading. Once I figure that out, we price it out. We use a software program to send offer letters every day So say, Dr. Alex, you have a 1 acre parcel in Peyton, Colorado. You're going to get an offer for, I don't know, $49,338. I know if you sign that, I just got that land at a little bit below discount, or sometimes a lot discount, below market value, where I could sell it and make profit. Another thing I really look for today with this massive housing crisis we're in, especially for affordability, and you're in Colorado Springs, oh my God, what's the median price range for a house out there? Probably a fixer-upper for $450,000, maybe.
Yeah, it's gone up a lot. Yep.
So we are offering brand new manufactured homes on land at sometimes half of that price. And my buyer's pool is just massive because they can get FHA loan, VA loan with no money out of pocket, USDA loan, 0% down, conventional loan. There's even a fifth one. It's helping investors now. They're buying these brand new mobile homes from us. I say mobile homes. They're actually manufactured homes. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-2, 5-2, whatever you want, double wide, on land. And they don't have to have any income verification. No tax returns, 15% down, 5.99% interest rate, up to
That's awesome.
I think they can get as low as a 630 credit score. But now investors are buying from us. They're on land. They got 10 years warranty for these houses. And it's just been an incredible play. It really revamped my land business quite a bit.
That is cool. Let's compare and contrast, Brent, if you don't mind. What kind of things looked like before, maybe without the manufactured homes?
Yeah.
What a typical land deal looked like there. And then let's talk about a bit more about what the manufactured homes look like, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before I would just get any land under contract at a discount. I always wanted to make at least $10,000 net profit, whether I flipped it or I sold it on seller financing. The seller financing was the gravy train. That's, you just take care of your expenses with that. Now you're financially free. And it was really cool because we moved from Colorado to Florida. Very, very easy transition because my business was virtual. And then I would go into these counties and these markets and these communities virtually. I never stepped foot on the land. Now that we're quasi developers, I can't even call myself a developer. Basically, we buy the lot, we put electric and water and a septic on it, and they deliver the mobile home, the manufactured home. I keep saying mobile, but manufactured is just way better quality. They deliver it, they set it all up, and once you get your certificate of occupancy, now it's ready for an end buyer. And I don't have to seller finance those. They get lending on it. So my buyer's pool is even larger, to where I was selling a lot of this land to builders, developers, guys just like me that are putting brand new manufactured homes on it. Now I've kind of just eliminated that person and I'm making way more.
Here's a quick reality check. If you are a physician building wealth through real estate, your biggest asset likely isn't your rental portfolio, it is your income. Financial freedom may only be a few properties away, but disability, that can wipe out the plan overnight if you're not protected. Leverage RX helps physicians get the right, true own occupation disability insurance, so your lifestyle, your family, and your investing plan stay intact no matter what. Go to leveragerx.com/physicians and properties. That's leveragerx.com/physicians and properties, and protect the thing that funds everything. That is awesome. Yeah, when I last heard you speak, that's what you were doing. You were selling the vacant land. Some of it was going to hunters or to folks who wanted outdoor land or land to camp on, and then they were paying you seller finance, or they were paying you monthly, you as the bank, and you were recouping all your initial investment on that down payment, which is still a really awesome way to do it. Because like you mentioned, you're kind of eliminating your risk, and then all that monthly income that was coming in was just gravy on top, and cash flow for you, and to generate that financial freedom. How are you finding motivated sellers then, and how has that changed now? Because you mentioned the buyer pool has increased dramatically with the ability to finance these manufactured homes.
Yeah, how I mentioned before, like we'll price the land out and then we'll send a series of offer letters with our software program. Most people are not going to accept that offer, but the ones that do, they sign it and send it back. We know that's a seller ready to sell us the land. It was just a numbers game, really. I wasn't cold calling, I wasn't texting, I was just making the offers. Now, we still do the same thing with the areas we're interested in placing brand new mobile homes or manufactured homes on. But we also have other channels. We're actually able to pay a lot more for the land now because there's such a, rather where I used to have to get it at a massive discount to get my payday, now we can just do a little, very small value add, AKA the electric, the water, and the septic and the manufactured home. That's how we're creating a massive amount of value. Now, if we can get the land at a discount and we're adding that value, now it's huge.
Cool. That is awesome. Are you selling all these manufactured homes and lots? Or are you still doing some seller finance deals like you were doing before?
Yeah, we sell them all outright. And now we're doing, we're kind of pivoting a little bit because, the IRS or our federal tax bill is quite large because land doesn't have a tax shelter for us. So I was having to figure out what I was making each quarter and talk to my CPA. And what's really cool is the IRS writes rules for us to be able to buy rental properties and reduce our federal taxes. So I was taking a lot of that money in buying rentals like light industrial, mobile home parks, that usually needs a lot of repairs and whatnot. Now I can actually just keep some of my brand new product, refinance out of it with these non-QM loans is what they call them. Now I have brand new rentals with warranty rather than buying stuff that needs to be fixed up. Because when I have a rental property, I don't want the tenants to call. I don't want to manage it. I just want the tax savings. We do it with cost segregations and depreciation. 2, I want the appreciation. And yes, a lot of people think that manufactured homes don't appreciate, but the ones we're looking at have sold like in the last couple of years are also going up. So depreciation, appreciation. I want my dollars to further grow and pay me more dollars down the road, and then mortgage pay down from my tenants.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you get all the benefits of real estate with that. And, I know land is attractive for a lot of people because you do typically avoid the tenants, the toilets, many of the headaches of traditional real estate investing. But this sounds like another way that you can do it, get a little bit higher upside and still, avoid a lot of those headaches. So that is awesome. I know folks who are listening to this, doctors are super analytical and they want to kind of know all the details. And part of that's going to be value. How do you typically value land? Maybe if there's not obvious comps or if you don't have a whole lot of experience, what does that look like?
Yeah. So one of the ways that I do it is I see where land's selling, similar sized parcels of land is selling. And I base it off of that. If it's acres, we go off acres. If it's smaller, like less than an acre, we go off a square foot, price per square foot. I also get with the land sales specialist real estate agents that are selling that land and say, hey, what's the get her done now price? What's the 30-day blowout price? If I need to get paid in 30 days from this, what will we sell it for? That's the most important right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure you could probably pull comps from the area, what recently sold and figure out roughly the time frame and adjust that way too. That can be helpful. And then just bake in a price decrease from that perspective.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like awesome. Rental properties where you can only see like what's for rent. That's how we get the comps on those. You can't see what it actually rented for. It's easy to see what stuff is sold for in the area in the last 30 days, 7 days, 6 months, and you can go off of that. You can get a really good average.
That is great. What does a kind of bread and butter land deal look like numerically?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we just did a 6 parcel subdivide and we sold each one of those for anywhere from 70 to 130,000 each. That's not my typical deal. It's nice to have one or two of those a year. but it was about a 1-year play. We had 6 of them. We put about $345,000 into them on the purchase price and the surveys and the maps and the plat maps and all that. It took almost a year, and we have sold them for about $740 total. So pretty good chunk of change on that. But I see most of the land deals happening buy side anywhere from 55 to 105 and selling anywhere from, 150 to 250. That's like the bread and butter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So a great way to generate some active income pretty quickly with land. What does it look like once you get a land under contract, or I guess even before? What does due diligence look like from a land perspective?
Yeah, I have a due diligence checklist that I always offer people. I also call it my land buying roadmap, but anybody can get a copy of it at thelandsharks.com/DD as in due diligence. But you really want to see okay, what's your access look like? Is it dirt road? Is it grass road? Is it asphalt road? Or is it there no access? Also, what's the water look like? Is it well? Is it city water, septic, sewer? How are you going to get your drainage? You want to know all of those things. What is it buildable? If not, why? How can we get it buildable? Because, sometimes that's just recreational land. You can never build on it, but you could hunt on it. You can recreate on it. You can ride four-wheelers and dirt bikes and camp on it.
Nice. So yeah, that's helpful too. What about zoning? Is that something that you're looking at pretty early on, or are you figuring that out more so after you get the land under contract?
Yeah, we go after the zoning. Most of the time it's residential vacant land, but if it's mobile home, I want to make sure it's already approved for mobile homes to be there. I'm not going to go in and change zoning. There are some huge plays where you can do that. You can change the zoning. That's where big money's made, but I don't generally do that in my land business. I know guys that's their only way they make money is just changing zoning. It just takes longer. You're talking with the city and the county and all that kind of stuff. I'd just rather be in and out and make a quick dollar and go to the next one.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, the zoning conversations are oftentimes quite painful, for sure. Well, that is awesome. Well, what's one mistake that you made early on that shaped how you invest today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was buying a lot of these for so cheap. I wasn't getting title insurance. I always recommend everyone get a title insurance policy, even if the land is free. Other mistakes I've made so many, gosh, I can sit here and talk to you all day about them. We didn't check to see if the land was actually buildable, things like that. And why was it not buildable? Just because you don't want to inherit, you don't want to take on someone else's problems. You don't want to trade spots with them unless you understand you have a way to change that problem or trade. Okay, I've got a solution for this. Yes, I'll take it type thing. Where I used to buy a lot of land on treasurer's deeds, from Colorado. Well, those titles are clouded for 9 years. Well, there's remedies for that. There's ways to get around that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And when you're, I guess you're solving a lot of problems typically for folks, because I feel like, probably a lot of people inherited land and they're like, hey, I don't want to keep paying taxes on this, or, I'm never going to go out and visit this land. So I feel like you probably are solving a lot of problems for folks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's probably a good way to find, potential land opportunities as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's it. Same thing with being a doctor or a physician. All you're doing all day long is getting paid to solve people's problems.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, obviously a lot of the listeners are physicians and have quite demanding schedules. Why might land investing be a better fit for them compared to rehabs or more active rental properties?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I wouldn't compare myself to a doctor or a physician, but I was at the Army's beck and call. I was expected to be on call all the time. 7 days a week, I had to have my cell phone on and, getting on base at 6 a.m. and leaving usually by 7 p.m. I was still able to do a couple land deals a month while still in the military. And I think why it went so well for me is the first several deals, first 20 something deals, I would sell them on seller financing And the reason why I was doing seller financing is because I didn't think people had that much cash laying around. I had a limiting belief, really. So, but doing that allowed me to make so much money in interest payments. Like I was selling these at anywhere from 8 to 12% interest. So it's almost like I had a bunch of rental houses, but nothing ever broke. I just collected the rent all the time. So that allowed me to stretch that money out for years and almost kind of know what I was going to make that much. So by the time I hit $5K a month or $4K, let's just say $4K a month, I actually doubled my income from the Army pay. And then when I hit $12K a month, I quadrupled my income, really, because I was only making $4 with the Army. So I wasn't touching any of that land money. I was just rolling it back in, almost like I was building an IRA, 401k, and I basically accumulated, just in that short period of time, about $1.2 million of gross enterprise value on a very small budget.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think from a time perspective, certainly the same. We have docs that are working crazy hours and they want to figure out how to do this. And I think something important that might have got missed early on is it only takes a few of these deals to generate some meaningful income that can really impact your ability to have some degree of financial freedom and practice medicine and live life how you want. And so I think that's important for folks to take into consideration is like, hey, I know you're sending out, Brent, you're sending out a lot of mailers and working, pretty hard to get those mailers out there and get potential contracts back and get potential deal opportunities. But you were able to do this part-time as well. And maybe just 1 to 2 to 3 land deals per year can really impact your life. What are your thoughts in regards to that?
I cannot agree more. I mean, we had Lance King. I actually did a podcast with him on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm a host on that podcast. I'd love to have you on, Dr. Alex. But I mean, he moved his whole family. He's got 6 kids and a wife from Colorado Springs to Maui, and he's living off of his land income. He was a police officer before.
That's amazing.
He's just like, listen, I don't want to be in this rat race forever. And I can tell you so many more. We had one guy, his first land deal was in West Virginia. And I don't know anything about West Virginia. I've heard the stories, but that's about it. But basically, he bought the land for the price he bought the land for. He sold the timber rights on it for the amount he paid for the land. And then after the timber rights were sold, he then sold the land by the acre and made over $175,000 on his first land deal. But here's the thing. He's a farmer. He's really a farmer. He's used to working from sun up to sundown 7 days a week. So it's like his wife was like over the moon because she's like, all you ever do is work. And then you just did the first land transaction. Like they basically made about over what he would have made as a farmer that year. Same thing for my buddy Mason McDonald. He was the CEO of a psychiatric hospital in Colorado Springs. We met for tacos. I think it's right by the Home Depot there off Cheyenne Mountain. Anyhow, but he's like 3 months later, he's quitting his job. And I was like, Mason, what are you doing? Are you crazy? He goes, Brent, you don't understand. I just made more on my first land deal than I make in the entire year as the CEO of this hospital, and my health is declining. And this is all public. Like I did a podcast with him on the Wholesaling podcast, but all I'm getting at, and not everyone has big fat numbers like that on the first one. Mine were probably the most meager beginnings because I didn't know what I was capable of doing. But yeah, it works for those that work it. This is a lot of work. I will say that. They call it a side hustle for a reason because you got to hustle it.
Yeah, you definitely do have to hustle. That's awesome. But I think back even to your first deal and $4,700, of extra income can really make a big difference. I mean, that's the difference between like someone having to moonlight or not, to generate some extra income. And, it's a little bit less stressful, I would imagine, buying some land. Both, I don't know, actually, the doctoring, but yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't imagine how stressful that would. You guys make one wrong decision. I mean, you guys have lives on the line. Excuse me. I don't know if anybody's ever died on a land transaction that I've done.
Hopefully not. Let's keep it that way.
I don't know of any real estate. I mean, the craziest thing I ever happened, I'm trying to think. I had a guy trimming some trees. Like, he just talked about how scary it was climbing the trees. That's it. That's about it.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, you mentioned it's a good bit of hustle. It's a good bit of work. What do you think, for the doc that's listening to this and they're thinking like, hey, I probably have some time that I could devote to getting started land investing. What would be next steps to them? How much time would you say this would take to generate some meaningful income?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say at least an hour a day to get the plane off the ground type thing. But once you get 30, 45 days into it, once you get the first one underneath your belt, you figure out what works for you in that market. Now I have a realtor selling most of my land deals. I used to spend a lot more than that. I have realtors doing the other side of the work type thing. So at least an hour. I also have, I have a physician actually. He funds my land deals, so basically here's how much time he spends. Every 3 months or so, he has to look over an email where I kind of lay out the whole entire land deal. It probably takes him 5 minutes to watch that video, another couple minutes to read. Probably the longest thing it takes him is wiring the money because we secure it with every land deal. And we pay anywhere from 8 to 12% depending on the land deal. Sometimes they're longer than 3 months, but we try and keep his money working for him, but we secure it with a parcel or a property on each one of them. So that's even more passive. He probably spends, 30 minutes a month doing that. And he likes to be paid at the end of the deal. We used to pay him monthly, but he's like, accounting, it's easier just to pay me every 3 or 6 months type thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So a lot of different ways to get into it that aren't necessarily the hustle of building the list, finding the land, making the offers and going from there, which can be a lot more time consuming.
Yeah. So true. Yep. And the same thing with our brand new manufactured homes on land. I mean, I'm doing 2 of these a month. And I do have a project manager. We have the realtor selling. We have the realtor showing us exactly what to build where. But I probably spend, an hour a day, maybe 2 sometimes, doing that. And I'm selling 2 of these a month. So it's one of those things where I also coach for the Land Sharks. That's probably the thing that takes the most of my time is coaching, but I absolutely enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do too. We have a mastermind for assisted living called the 𝗪𝗆 Room, and it's just so gratifying, especially once folks get the deals done. We have a lot of folks who are doing new development right now, and they're breaking ground and all these exciting things. And you're like, man, this is awesome because assisted living, we love it because you got the purpose of providing exceptional care for seniors, and then it can be quite profitable. But it is awesome to get to see that and see those wins within the community. Brent, what is I guess the end state, I guess, of finding sellers? How are you finding sellers to buy this land from you or to buy these manufactured homes from you?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I used to be on all the land websites, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook buy-sell groups, placing signs, calling the neighbors. Calling the neighbors is one of the best ways we've ever sold the land. I've never met a property owner or a homeowner that didn't want to own the land next to them. That's been a great way of selling land. But now I've kind of hit the cheat button, the cheat code. I'm only going to give it to the Physicians and Properties podcast listeners. It is finding that land sales specialist real estate agent that's selling all the land already, having that person take care of that sale. Because I'm all about surrounding myself with smart people. I got a problem with my back. I'm going to the best back doctor I can find, the best.
Yeah, exactly right.
Surgeon. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, orthopedic surgeon, spine surgeon. Yeah, for sure. I need one for my neck right now. We were talking about beforehand. But yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. That is awesome. Well, let's hit a couple kind of rapid fire questions here. What's one myth about land investing that you'd love to kill?
Yeah, you can't make any money with vacant land. I think we killed it on this episode.
Yeah, we killed it. You proved that wrong. What is one action step a listener can take this week if they want to learn more?
Find a market where land is selling.
Sounds good. That's probably about every market. What separates the people who actually succeed in land investing for those who just get stuck continuing to consume content?
Yeah, I mean, you could consume 100 hours of YouTube videos. I could show you exactly my process, but you're going to get way further by actually taking action and doing the process with me. And your first deal, I mean, it's like I say it's like watching 100 hours worth of YouTube. Your first deal, you learn so much. It's just really like concrete. Like, you can look at house plans and you can look at them for days. You can study them. But when you go out there and actually get the tools required and put the house together step by step by step by step, and by the way, they sell those, like you're going to learn so much from actually doing rather than just learning it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same with medicine. It's kind of that apprenticeship model and, going to medical school, learning the information, then going to residency, starting to learn how to practice with a mentor. That would be, equivalent to the Land Sharks or Mastermind program. And then going out and doing it on your own can be really, really important. Brent, what does building wealth the right way mean to you at this stage in your life?
Yeah, this stage is you got to be real careful not to spend all that money that comes through on the land side, like the boats and the toys and the RVs and all that stuff. It's better to look at what you're going to be paying, Uncle Sam, and say, okay, how can I maybe accumulate another rental this year rather than buy that boat so that rental pays for that boat, because that boat's going to rot and deteriorate 5 years from now. But you had that rental property pay for that cash flowing property, pay for those toys, but you're also saving a lot of the money that you would be paying to the federal, your federal IRS tax bill, through things like depreciation and cost segregation. So that you get so many benefits. I think that's truly building wealth, not buying those toys for just a little while, eventually buy them, cause why the heck do we do all this? Have fun. But buy them right at the right time, as well as save money rather than paying the government, which we need to pay for the roads and the bridges and the military that protects us. But every time I do a real estate transaction, I employ like 30-something people, and all those people pay taxes as well. So I'm not saying get out of paying taxes, but there's ways to build wealth through real estate the right way.
Yeah, that's a great advice, especially physicians. We're always looking for ways that we can save money in taxes. And this is a great way to do that. You generate that increased active income with the land flipping. You put that into a real estate deal that gives you the tax benefits, depreciation, cost segs, et cetera. And then you get kind of that full circle benefit. So that is awesome. Brent, well, if folks want to work with you, they want to reach out to you, they want to know more, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I guess the easiest way is to go to the landsharks.com and get on my calendar, schedule a call. I post on YouTube every week as well. We've got quite a few videos on YouTube we've posted now at this point. So more ways to figure out what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. Well, with that, it's been Brent Bowers and Dr. Alex 𝗪𝗠 with another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. Signing off. Hey, real quick, if you're still listening to this, I'm assuming you got value from it. So I need your help specifically. My 2-year vision with this podcast is to help 100,000 physicians learn how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want. There are 2 main ways that a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and the other is word of mouth. If you can please leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as send this to 1 to 2 friends that you think would get value from it, we can reach the physicians that we want to reach. Thanks in advance, and talk to you on the next episode. Please note that the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial or medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force.